Okay, fall to a rash. So the pump is back, and it got new bearings and a bit more work done inside there. So these bearings that came out of it, like you can hear there, they were as dry as an Arab sandal now, to be honest with you. They were making an awful lot of racket, and some of them were, as you can see, were tita or sakela. Some of them actually fell to bits. The ball bearings are gone completely, and the outer races are rough, and the seal there as well. So that doesn't look like it was doing a whole lot of sealing, and that probably, along with the fact there was no oil in it, contributed to catastrophic wear of the bearings. I think he said he put a cam on it as well, a camshaft. So he said he's after leaving it at spill time and points, so I took off the spectrum cover, and sure enough it seems to be. So we'll go and fit that back in, and so I'm going to put a bit of Indian head on here. The gasket's good enough to reuse again, because I never really over tightened it anyway, and we have some calibrated injectors and some copper washers here as well to go. So brilliant. So let's get this lined up and see if we can get it fitted, and I'll come back when I have that done, and yeah, we'll set up the camera then, and we'll hopefully be able to put this thing back together. So it's great to be back at this. Soon took a bit of play electric eat. Brilliantly been keeping the battery charged there over the last while, just slowly topping her up, because I should have a fool, should it do me. It's fairly cold now. Today it was about 4 degrees outside, so yeah, Ferguson 20 diesels sometimes can be a little bit narky starting. I had to start my own one there to move this down. It was grand. Interesting to see how this lady goes now. They also did a job on this shaft here. They machined it, a bush into it there, and it is as tight as tuppence. It's lovely. All the wear has gone out of it. So I've lined this up to the spill time and mark that I put on it there before. So that should have us in around 30 degrees, 32 degrees I should say, before top dead centre. So we'll tighten up the bolts, snug them, we won't go crazy. Since gotten engine oil service and oil filter service, so cleaned out the sump strainer, the oil pump strainer and the sump. So we'll just give them a little nip there. We're fairly bang on with that. We have our pull to stop lever in, which could going to cause a bit of a problem if it isn't. There's not enough space, in other words, to get it in after the pump is actually in place, fitted. There's a bit tight for space in underneath there. So yeah, this throttle rod here is going to go on to this. This is lovely and tight now. So what I have to do with this one is thread the little ball joint kind of lad into the back of it. It takes a bit of time, a bit tight for space, but we took the time to clean all the threads up, and that makes a massive difference then when it comes to all this. You know, it comes to this point in getting all of that back together. So it's going to get a 9 mil, I think. 11:30 seconds is what it is, and I don't have the spanner that suits. So I find and mess around with an 8 or a 9 mil usually does the trick, and again it helps when you have the threads all cleaned up. So this is a lot quicker sometimes than trying to get that ball out of that throttle rod there, and of course you can always break them and all that. So it's the safest bet. I don't mind taking my time screwing on fittings like this. It just takes a bit of time. So that's that. Took off for little lad for minding that. Okay, that's all good. So it's nice having the fuel tank off as well. It makes a big difference when putting on your injectors and all that, gives you so much more space. So we can put this lad on here now. We also fitted a better one of these that I had, because the one that was on it was completely and utterly blocked beyond all possibility of using it. And of course that's crankcase breather, and it's important those pistons are going up and down and the crank's coming around. It does create a bit of air pressure in there. It's important that air pressure can escape, otherwise it'll pressurise up the crankcase and the engine, and oil starts coming out of places through seals it shouldn't and all of that. So it's just something I took a bit of time in cleaning up there one of the days when we were wondering what else we could do on it. So that's not crazy tight. I'm just going to get another spanner for that, or an adjustable, I think is what I use for that. Of course, if you go and try and tighten that up, as I probably showed before, if you try and tighten that up without holding that, you'll break off the solder joint there on the end of that pipe. So it's all okay until you have them kind of banjo-y connections, because you can't, it's not something you can just go and make. You know, you can't just go and make that kind of an end. Okay, so we've our throttle hitched up. That's turning beautifully. All of that is nice and neat and tight there. He's put oil in the pump. The pump is snugged. So what we can do, I'm starting to think maybe I should have fitted that pipe on there, shouldn't I? First, gets a bit tight. Well, we'll be all right. We got it on before. We might go for an injector. Okay, I think I cleaned out in there already. Let's make sure. Yeah, fingers coming out fairly clean. So we might go for an injector. So we'll get one. So I'm just going to go and start sorting out a few of these injectors and like copper washers, and I'll come back. Okay, so we've got a new copper washer on the injector. Everything's good and clean there. That should go in nice and easy, and it does. Okay. Spring washer. Nut. It's a cold evening here, I can tell you. You can see me breath. Talking about maybe schnachte there, or a bit of snow up there in north of the country. I like to tighten these kind of fairly even. A few turns each side, get it pulling nice and even there. Well, actually it's pulling in nice and loose there now, that's all. It's a bit of paint, probably. Just making things a little stiff there. I like to give them just a little nip first, and I go around then. Go around and give them a final. Last thing you want is to go ringing anything. So two of these injectors, he said, were fairly low. They were just, you see, he's definitely worked on this one there with the copper washers. Two of them are just a little bit low, so they're opening a bit early. That would affect the running of it early. It wouldn't be atomising the diesel fine enough. So they should be set to 120 bar, if I'm not mistaken. Something like over 1000 psi. So because the pump, the bearing snap pump, oh my god, it's only there now. I know I was only showing you there on the video just with one hand, but when you actually use your two hands and hold the outer race and you twist the inner race, the ball bearing, my god, and you wonder I was hearing some racket. So that would allow the cam to drop as well, and the plungers wouldn't come up high enough and all of that. So like you're definitely, you know, you're talking. The poor engine just didn't stand a massive chance, you know, if that was all so worn and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see. And I'll probably do a spill. I will do a spill timing again as well, but for now I'm just going to line up. I've lined up the timing marks there. My honest opinion is that a lot of the issues with spill timing, I found this hard to spill time. A lot of the issues can actually be a worn timing chain and gears in there, and they just allow a little bit of slop, a bit of movement, That's why I was finding it hard to spend time, but look, I tension up the chain as best I can. I did get it starting and running fairly well, considering, you know, the bearings in the pump and all of that. So the two of these injectors were low power. So I'm sure now a bit of work is done. I think he said a new cam was fitted as well, so, and a new seal to the front, so these are oiled. Will stay in there. Yeah, all of that was fairly well cleaned out there. It was plugged up since. And it's those bits of white paper are nice and dry, so there's no dampness got in. Okay, so copper washer. Yeah, it's nice work. This, you just take your time. Try and avoid that flaky paint going in there. I'm not 100% happy that I have to make sure that copper washer stays on it there. That'd be fun if it didn't. So we've one. Oh no, I thought we were missing one one spring washer. Thought it might have broken, but no, it seems to be there in one piece. So we'll get these on. We'll get the spill off rail then in pipe, and we'll see how all is. So much easier putting on that spill off rail with the tank off. So right, we need to start swapping over to the 7/16 now. Okay, so spill off rail. I don't replace copper washers on these if they weren't leaking, for the simple reason being, if they're already on, they kind of hold all the bolts in place. And these weren't very tight and they were sealing, so I'm hoping that they'll reseal again. I'm sure they will. If not, I'll just drop them and I'll just replace them one by one as needed. It's so much easier when you can fit this with all the bolts intact. Believe you me, I can tell you that. These things can be a right pain. If you ever get a second-hand one of these, they're always a little bit bent a different way than what was on your own, and it can be really awkward to get your hands in around there and your fingers in to get the little banjo bolts in. Seriously fine thread, like this one here is stopping, kind of stopping my finger going in there around. I prefer to tighten all this by finger rather, because you can start that on the wrong thread. Now, usually it's the banjo bolt itself that'll ring rather than the threads in the injector. They're way harder, thankfully, but still I'm going to get an 11 for that because that 7/16 is too tight, and I want something just to slip over it, because then when you try and pull off the bloody spanner, it starts pulling out the bolt. But yeah, fairly awkward here. Always seem to just be a little bit tight or twisted. It's important as well not to bend them when you do take them off them, but drop that on them like that. Pull the stop cable is making life things a little bit tight in there now. And what I found as well in the past, some of them were actually a bit too short, and you were trying their best to pull everything, make it longer to get it to line up. So, awkward enough, to say the least. Just sitting in there now, see if we can get that to bite. I think that's it there. Again, I really prefer to try and get a few turns on it by hand and putting the spanner on it. Okay, that's definitely a bigger head, 12mm maybe. Might have been replaced in the past. What I've noticed is some of the new banjo bolts for these actually are 12mm metric. It looks like it's a good age. So make sure we're biting there and not on the wrong thread. It does feel good. No resistance. Okay, just this coil here now is a little bit awkward to get the fingers around. It's a little bit twisted. It's not going in 100% straight. We're doing fairly well so far. No, not biting. Yeah, I'll come back when I have that done. I might need to get a torch and a mirror underneath it. Okay, Tog and Ma. I think we're after winning that fairly easy now in the end. And she's biting nicely, no resistance. But I can tell you from experience, you get that banjo bowl to even so much as bite on the wrong threads, and the hard threads in that injector re-thread it wrong, and you will have some job trying to ever get this sealed. It'll be dribbling solid. Easy does it. Likes it end there, pulling lovely by hand, that's what you want. That lad, oh that lad isn't actually in yet. So, clean crack. Do what you have to do to get that to turn by hand, nice and easy. Before you go like that. Before you go tighten things up. I had to get a new one of these for mine because these are actually brass connections, and over tightening trying to get things sealed actually puts it out of shape. The brass little banjo bit around it, the ring bit, puts it out of shape, and you will never get it sealed. I tried every type of washer you can get to get it sealed on my original one. Everything, aluminium, copper, fibre, douchies, would not seal. I replaced all the banjo bolts, would not seal. So I had to go and buy a new one. I tried taking it off, filing it flat, but you're never going to be able to get it perfectly flat. It was a ball ache, so it was. And it was one of them leaks that just kept dribbling the whole time. All of these are actually a little bit widened from tightening, I think. 11/16 isn't happy gripping it anyway. 12mm is a good bit better. They're lovely, when it goes to plan and they just tighten. Don't mind, as I said before, I don't mind taking the time tightening things up. Just to get to the point where you can actually get them threading. Okay, so again, I don't go over tight. We can always nip them if needs be afterwards. Okay, so we might put on the air pipe. That's what we'll do. So, yeah, I'll just bring you around the other side. Okay, so we're ready to put this air pipe onto the throttle venturi. It's a 7/8. So all that was cleaned up. So we have to route this in around in a way that doesn't go blocking, getting in the way of throttle rods and all of that. So I might just take a quick look over the other side and make sure we're clear of everything. Yep. Every one of these engines, you know, things, pipes or throttle rods can be a little bit bent to suit every engine. All it takes sometimes just to give him a nip by hand. We'll go around here now and we'll give him a nipping up here. I think it's one size smaller this side. I think it's a 13/16. Now, so focus quickly, and 13/16. Not mistaken, is what she is. I like to keep that pulled up a little bit to help the kind of tit on it to seal. As usual, I always find these are a really tight fit for the spanner. So getting a bigger one, like a probably 21mm spanner, is good for just getting it started, and then nip it up as such with that. If I have my adjustable there, I might just do that. It's big enough here, only small, it's just adjustable one. No, we'll come back with a bigger one. Just saves time. It just grabs it there. I just want to give it a nip. Do the nipping now, and then we'll get the final tighten then done on that. The proper spanner. Interesting. I'd like to know if this is actually 13/16, or is it some form of another BSP, British Standard Pipe fitting or something. That a 13/16 fits. Just feels very snug. There's a good few turns. It needs a good few turns to tighten. So you'll be all day with your 13/16 there now, trying to pull it off at every time. It's a lovely hard metal, so using your adjustable isn't going to go round in it or anything like that. Okay, like that. Okay, so another part done. Very important to get that on, and you start that engine without that pipe on, and I can tell you one thing, you want to make sure you have your pull to stop lever attached. It happened to me once after I got a diesel pump done, and my neighbour came to hear the lovely engine, and I couldn't get my finger in behind the pump to stop the engine, and it revved to God knows what revs before I could get it to stop. It was scary. But what you have to watch for when you're tightening this is the pipe doesn't come with you when you're turning it, because it'll bend it definitely, and it could even crack it, and then you'll have the same issue. You'll have your spring in the back of that pump, diesel pump, will push the rack forward, and if you have this pressed like you would for cold starting, it'll rev to crazy revs. Okay, so boom, 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 what have we got? We have our pull to stop on. There's the click you want to hear into the running position. We have fuel in, the timing marks lined up, pneumatic governor pipe on, we have our injectors in, we have our spill off pipe on, with one fuel pipe from the fuel filter. We need to put the tank on, and we need to hitch up fuel lines. So the tank, as probably no one mentioned, was leaking in a few places. So we got that sorted, I think, found a few leaks. So we'll put down our rubber lads. Rubber pads there, it was missing them before, and that was causing it to wear into the vibrations was wearing the tank. So then radiator pads, they're cheap, they do the trick. Oh, so let's see where that line is going. Dripping in there somewhere. Okay, mine drip from there, so we'll just give that a wipe. We might need to tighten our new copper washers. We'll find out fairly likely when we started. Anyway, just seen a drip of oil on the spanner that was under it. Okay, so fuel tank on the way. Okay, down over the housing. New thermostat housing, I should say. Line up our pads. And we'll put a bolt or two through them. Awkward line this one up. The air filter in the way. Okay, roughly there. Yeah, so we'll might just throw the bolts down through that, just to keep them in place. And go bolting that now. Am I right in saying I think I got the upper bolts for that. Ones that actually fit in there. Yeah, I did. I must have taken the time. I did take the time to do that, yes. The little whatchamacallit, the UNFs. There's captive nuts in behind there, and yeah, I think it was 10 bolts originally fitted there when I got the tractor that went down through that nut, but I'm using the proper UNF nut. See now, get the bite. It's always neater. Okay, say nothing. That's better than using that. And now we can work on the ones on the front. See, I think I worked out nuts and bolts for that as well, because we've a new thermostat housing that has threads in it. So you can see the threads just there. So we can line them up, get a rubber pad ready. I just want to see, is this going to catch that? If it doesn't, we'll get the right one. Thought it did. It was a little bit tight, so we'll just take our time and find something now. I'm not overly happy with that. Looks like it's coarse thread. So we'll just get our coarse thread bolts and we'll have it, we'll pick out two. Okay, UNC it is, so that's grand. So we'll put under our pad. Thing of beauty. Line it up a little bit better. And that's that. Get another pad now. Okay, so UNC bolt is what seems to be working. Well, this will definitely make a difference, because this front here was getting very badly worn as well with vibrations. Every engine's different as well, you know. It's hard to get all the rattles out of these engines anyway. By rattles I mean the parts that are attached to it. So we just put them in loose there. Feels perfect. Can't beat. Nice, neat nuts and bolts. Screw in lovely and easy, and washers and all of that. That's what makes this so much more enjoyable. Collecting up all those little parts and getting them all ready. I'm going to get the work lamp here because things are a bit dark, and we'll come back. So while the fuel tank is squeezed, it's still a little bit loose. I want to start lining this ball bolt up here. Oh, it's fun messing with these bikes. You say that should go in there nice and easy. Or is it meant to go in underneath that? In which case we can that the way it's meant to be? It's a bloody stiff pipe, I can tell you. It's got to go in behind. Wow. Like that game operator. I'm trying to, or whatever it was, the one that you had to bring the little bit of wire around with a touch to beat. Yeah, what way were you at all? No, you went that way either. Through there maybe? Up behind the oil pressure pipe. Awkward. Awkward ain't the way. Oh my. Wow. Okay, that's the way it is. Shin A. So we'll just bloody dipstick is in the way. We must get things lined up loosely. They'll probably move a little bit there. Got a little bit of a bend when I was trying to get it pushed in the back there. Jesus, yeah. Things have moved, surely. The fairies must have come in there now. One even. Get things a little bit of a twist for me to make life a little harder. Okay, so we'll have to lever that up because we had a problem there before. That pipe there just was a little bit low. I suppose I could do it moving the light there because I see it's in the shadow there now when I'm working. Yeah. I need to give this a nip. Again, it's one of them connections that you just do not want to go starting to tighten with a spanner straight away. It will go on the wrong threads and you'll never see it. And then you need to get a new lift pump as well to rectify that. The lift pump is only kind of alloy. These new pipes are super hard. Actually, very high quality product if I may say so. No complaints there at all. But this does need to lift. So let's get something to give that a bit of a bend up. And we'll try and get that on. That has got to, that really does have to be straight as possible. It goes in there. So once it's pulled out, we could do a bit of a help. Someone else. We want that to be straight because the olive then has to meet it. It won't seal it, it's good and straight. And yes, when you tighten down our fuel tank, it'll pull it down, but the little little rubber pads have lifted things up a little bit as well. So, yeah. Right, what to do there? We've got to free up a bit of space in this. And we have to make sure our dipstick goes in. Yeah, so aftermarket pipe, good quality, but super hard to bend. There we go. It's lifting the tank there, so that should help to get a bit of a grip. Good and straight. We have our punch and the flywheel there with the key on it. That was in the time and mark, very important. So we can't start to factor that, put that in. That's exactly what we don't want to do. So our 13mm spanner is next. We need that. Put it down somewhere there and I'm blind with that work lamp. Let's go and have a look for it. Okay, ejector pipes. Take one off. I'll go stop any dirt going down there into the delivery valves. I blowed every one of these pipes out with the air gun just there. So we should be good and clean. I think that one's there. Also good to keep these in a sealed bag and just squirt in a bit of WD-40 just when they're sitting for a while. Get that bottom one covered there first, most important. Treads are a little bit sticky with that now. Compared to the bottom one, let's get a feel of it there and see. It's probably fine. We'll get a feel of it there now in the spanner and see. Okay. So anyway, I'll be able to get the decompressor lever working there on the engine. Get this turning over then nice and quick. It'll help it to get diesel up to there. Then we'll be able to tighten. We've got fuel on here. Turn the fuel on. I just wanted to make sure we're not leaking here because it was hard to seal that the last day. It seems to be fairly terrible in there. It seems to be fairly dry. So we'll say nothing. Right. So we need a few bits now. We need a flathead. Fitting new Doughty washers on them. They never seem to need the same amount of pressure. Attention to seal as well. Fuel is on, so how are we doing down here? Are we leaking or are we dry? We're dry coming into the lift pump so far. Okay. That's your injector testing stuff coming out there now. It doesn't feel very oily, so we'll let that come out. There's our air coming now. Have to fill that fuel filter first now as well. Might put a better drum underneath that. That stuff is probably not great for the, well, I wouldn't say it's great for the, I wouldn't say it's bad for the engine, but it's definitely not the stuff it's meant to be running on. I presume we have to allow a fuel filter here to fill. Nice steady stream coming out of that there. Okay, let's see how we're doing. I don't know if that fully bled now personally. I'd be surprised if it is, but we will find out. Normally it takes a good bit more pump to get that fuel filter to fill. Okay, so what we can do is get the battery in, that's charging there, and yeah, we'll come back with that in. Right, so let's give this a quick spin and see how we get to when we get to bleed a bit. Take much. I'm decompressing there as well, so we get a bit more of a spin out of it. Most importantly, our pull to stop lever is in. So, just in case we crack that air pipe or at and go into Venturi, we'll be able to get that engine stopped. The last bit test of that to make sure that this will come off. So that will come off. That's the most important thing at this stage. Okay. Take it off the we'll take it off the decompression unit. We'll take one more little look around here, make sure everything's good. Throttle lever is up. Pull starting buttons in, everything's good. A little leak there, just gave it a tighten. So we'll try it and see what happens. Okay, so we definitely have a bit of air in the system still. Will we go again or no? I think what we'll do is we'll just give that a bit of a bleed here to pump again. Be very surprised now. The pump was, that fuel filter was filled up so easy. That needs to be tightened. See it's pumping out there. It's okay. Where did I put my 11/16? So I should have that on me. One of these things I just put down without thinking. Wait, let me see. Where did we put it? I'll come back when I found it. Just one of them things you kind of throw down. And you need to. So that was completely loose. Tighten them up. That's okay. So I'm going to help either anyway. Okay. Wonder was that pump put on 180 out? No, because it did start. Let's say we're just talking about air. As I said, I'm just surprised we could get so much fuel here so quick. Normally, that fuel pump filter would take ages before it fill. Let's try the other side of the pump as well. That's not bled properly, you end up with just fuel coming to two cylinders really. Okay. Timer marks are lined up lovely, like if I this cold start. Maybe it's just the injectors aren't tightening up. Hold on, have a look and see. Strange that started. Now it's not happy. Might just give it a little decompression for a minute. See. That battery just isn't strong enough, I don't think. Fully charged, like, but it's just not strong enough. I just want to make sure that starter's not getting hot. I don't like to overdo it on them. No, she's stone cold. That's good. That's important. And the solenoid, stone cold. Good. It's just we're getting smoke, but we're not getting fire. Okay. I'll give things a rest here. I might take the battery out of my own tractor and give it a go. Give another quick go. Let's give it another little bleed there and we'll see what happens. Okay, that battery needs another charging. We have a lot of leakage there, so I'll just give that a tighten. Let's see what that's going to improve things. So, is it leaking from the top here, or is it at the bottom? Something leaking there. Oh yeah, and this was loose as well. So. Yeah, there's a good bit of fluid around there, right? That clean off, see. And around that, it's like he had these out. Of course he had these out. But didn't tighten them up enough. So I might put a spanner on them and give them a nip. Yeah. So then cleaning them off, I can see. So I'll get the spanner on them. Okay, so went over it again, did a bit more bleeding, tightened up a few connections here. We seem to be dry as far as fuel leaks go. There's only one thing I just like kind of keeping an eye on is that lad in there. That connection there was taken off. So I'm after squeezing it a bit more there, tightening it up a bit, just in case. Well, I suppose if I have to replace the copper washers, I will. It's no big deal. I have to do a bit of work on a throttle rod in there. You just see it there. I had to take him out and do a bit of work on him. I wanted to free up the connection there. It's very hard to see in there. That's adjustable, and this is your anti-shudder kind of lever. It isn't a throttle lever at all. It just pushes a cam towards the back of the rack for tick over, and as you rev it up, it actually comes forward, right? And the cam comes back out of the way, and that allows it to govern. So if I rev it up here, you see what happens here. It comes forward. So it's only for the ticking over position. So I have that loosened up. I'm able to now I'll be able to adjust that whenever I get it running, because this is all bushed up and everything now. You know, it could actually, we'll say, like, it could behave a little bit different. And now that it's got its cam and it's got its bearings, the plungers will be lifting up that bit more. So it could easily be slightly different sound in a running engine. So the battery charger on, it is Baltic out. It is, you can hear it there now, the sleet falling at the moment, the snow all over the country. It's Baltic, you wouldn't leave a dog out in it. So we'll give it a bit of heat. We'll give it a bit of heat. We'll give it 10 seconds of heat. Your battery charger kicking back in, that's a good sign. It means that she's working. It's going to need every bit of heat it can get. And I'm sure there's still be a bit of air in the system as well. Okay, let's go. we need to adjust this because it's actually holding the tick over up. Something's pushing the throttle back down a little bit. Vibrations or whatever, but I'm just going to let it off here anyway. Okay, so let's go around to the other side now. We'll adjust the tick over down a bit. Okay, so I'm going to lengthen that throttle rod there now, and we're going to be able to push that back a bit. Right, so did a bit of playing around. I think there's a leak in that air pipe there. It's kind of splitting a little bit there. Well, it's not really. It's the fitting on the end of it is kind of a little bit loose. So I'll just try and put a bit of grease around it to see will it seal it. The tick over is going up and down, so I probably have to replace that pipe, but that's no problem at all. But it doesn't sound too bad now, in fairness. A little bit up and down on the revs, so there's definitely air getting in the vacuum, and then it's correcting itself when it goes up in revs. The bearings in that alternator don't sound good now as well, so I've loosened off the tension in the alternator a bit there. See if it'll help, but I think, to be honest with you, it's just it was misaligned too long, and that fan belt was pulling at it the wrong angle too long, and it just wore the bearings. So But yeah, see, starts handy. So just to get the revs a bit more level, I suppose that's all I'd be looking to do. Played around with the throttle rods. I've lengthened this here, so it's not pushing the cam forward into the more richer mixture and, you know, increasing the revs, like. That's what it'll do, so I adjust it back a little because I don't want it to be on the end of its threads when I lock up the lock nut. But it's not hunting as such, ticking over, it's nice and level. Another thing, there's a kind of a spring in the throttle. When you hold it up, the revs go down, and when you let go, it comes back. And the vibrations and all of that seems to kind of want to find its own little happy place there. So that's where we are at so far. A little bit pop, 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 pop there every now and again. They can do that. It's kind of where they're in between ticking over and revving a little bit. Yeah, it's definitely going up and down on the revs a bit. So I wasn't doing that before, so maybe me taking this off a few times just cause it just to get a little bit. It's definitely not great, like. Put your fingers around it and try and seal it a bit better, it kind of goes down on the revs a little bit, you know, so even just slightly like that. So that's that kind of stuff is where we're at. All in all, I think the engine sounds like it's definitely burning better. You can hear a bit more of a diesel rattle off it, as much as that doesn't sound good. When you say it, it sounds like there's more compression happening there. There's better burning going on in there. So yeah. Interesting to see how it drives. Will the governor level it out? Hold the revs? That is a bit annoying. Anyway, that is where we're at. That one could be hopefully just as simple as replacing that air vacuum pipe going to the diaphragm from the throttle venturi. If that doesn't sort it, I'll have to take a look at the throttle valve venturi again and see if it's it felt very tight when I put it on. It doesn't seem to be doing a whole lot of seesawing around the place. Turn on the light here, see. Mind you, they usually wear in the back. It was the best one that I could find, knocking about, and I've 3 of them in there. So like it's fairly steady this side, but it's the other side that usually gets worn because that's where the throttle rod's attached to it. But I tried putting grease around it and it made no difference, so a lot of that thick grease, so look, we'll see. At least it's starting fairly well and all of that. Thought that was a water leak, it's only some shiny paint. Okay, so sin scale go dtí seo chumat am sásta go má leis socha cúpla job eile déanamh mar sgnách mar a bhín de gná ach fó féin. Sá rómíad an dúchláin is doch le chuna dé. So yeah, the usual crack with these things. You could be working on them for years, as I often do. You know, so there's a bit of smoke coming off something there. Let's see what's going on here. Is it just the light, is it? It's showing up. The heater plug isn't stuck on any, that's for sure. Because that'd be worrying if it did, because that's getting fed with diesel. It's just when it's coming this side here, you can see. Could this be the crankcase? Just above the fuel tank, you can see it kind of. You can see it better there. This is just burning off crap. Let me see a bit coming up around the rocker cover there. Yeah, it's probably just burning off a bit of dirt. Definitely have, there's good coolant level in it anyway. Yeah, we'll give it a small top up, but apart from that, I'd say it's burning off bits of old diesel and stuff on the exhaust and stuff. So Sinead, that's the crack.